tune in next week. See which one wins, the demon or the Downton.
The demon or the Downton.
Yeah.
London.
That's like the worst WWE poster ever. The Downton versus the demon.
That's good. That's funny.
Welcome to another edition of Popcorn Bucket List here. We are now entering officially into fall movie season here. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, looking forward. We got some good ones to look forward to, I think.
Oh yes, there's one big one this week that I'm excited for.
Already this week, it'll be a good one here. But we're gonna start off this episode just kind of diving right into the opening spotlight here because we are gonna do a little bit more of a somber topic here. So we're just not gonna do any of the pleasantries. We're just gonna go right into it. I debated on waiting until next year to do this for the 25th anniversary, but since this episode lands on September 11th of this year, I think it's about time we did kind of a little bit more of a 9/11 movie talk here, I guess, so to speak, and talk about 9/11 movies that help us never forget. Maybe this is just me. I feel like each and every year we do talk about this a little less and less.
A little less and less.
And I don't think we're at that point of forgetting, but we're getting closer to it than I'd like to.
Yeah.
So this is our way of trying to tip those scales back the other way here, I suppose.
Very good.
But I guess just start off this conversation though. The ultimate question usually when you talk about this topic is where were you on that day? And so I guess I pass the question off to you if you're comfortable with saying, do you remember that morning at all?
I do. I was in, I want to say it was 5th grade, 6th grade, somewhere in there, that area. I can remember the school in my classroom because, and I am dating myself here, but it was one of the times where we got to school, they told us what happened, and then we sat in our rooms and watched the TV on the cart. And we did that just the entire day. We got, they had counselors and stuff. I kind of remember, I never went and talked to them, but then I also remember later in the week, if you were a Boy Scout, you were supposed to wear your Boy Scout stuff to school, and we had a bunch of flag stuff. But I remember every class we'd switch classes and we would just sit and watch the news. Granted, I don't know what news station or anything, but it was just somewhat news coverage of it. And then I remember talking with my parents about it over the weekend, and that's when it was like kind of more, okay, this is what we're thinking, this is what we think happened and who's behind it and why they did it. It was kind of more of the gathering information and getting it out there. So yeah, it was definitely a wild, a sad day at school. And I remember we had recess and not all the teachers that are out doing recess everything was weird. But yeah, I was gonna say that's one of the last times I remember probably the only time I remember full day cart TV watching.
I was going to say, there hasn't really been a moment since then that would sort of warrant that. I mean, you kind of look at the Challenger disaster. That was a big thing, obviously, because there was a school teacher. Then there was that moment. There hasn't really been one since then. But I always say it's interesting for me because there is always this phrase of never forget. But I always say I don't remember that day. I was too young. I believe my mom said it was either kindergarten or preschool. It was my first day.
Yeah.
Of that. And so all of a sudden my mom's hearing this on the news is do I send my kid to school today or do we just keep him home right now?
Yeah.
Especially for it being first day and everything like that. But see, I have no memory of the day and everything like that, unfortunately. But it seems like for a lot of people that was kind of the experience. That was kind of the story, especially in this area.
Yep. And I think a lot of it too is that was, like you said, 25 years ago. So the age is definitely anybody that's 25 years and younger wasn't even alive when it happened. So it's kind of, that's almost your college age kids, a little older than college age kids. They weren't even alive when that happened. So it's, yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, that's kind of the theme here today is to make sure that we never forget this. So, we are a movie podcast, though, at the same time, so we're trying to merge those two topics here together. So we're breaking down today's movie discussion essentially into 3 categories. We're going to talk about a scripted movie that focuses around that event, basically our number 1 recommended documentary that focuses specifically on that event. And then also I wanted to finish it off by ending with either a scripted movie or a documentary that covers the aftermath. Something that takes place maybe shortly after or long term, just shows a little bit more of the effects on the psyche or on people in general after 9/11. So let's just kick things off with a scripted movie here. Why don't you kick us off? What do you got for yours?
Yeah, I'm going kind of basic, I think, for this. I think a lot of people think of this film as one of the top films, I guess you would say, with the September 11th tragedies. It's United 93, and it's not actually about the plane that hit the towers. It's about the passengers that overtook the terrorists on the other plane, and it actually just went down in a cornfield. I think in like Maine or Pennsylvania or somewhere over there. It was
Pennsylvania, yeah.
But that's the one I really remember. Like, you had the whole plane say, hey, they heard about what was happening while they were in the air and realized their plane was about to do it as well, and they took measures to stop that from happening. And yeah, it was very interesting. And I also think too, like, I am old enough now to remember some of the way airlines changed after that, how simple it was, because a lot of people don't know this, but I have family that live in New York, and we would go out to New York all the time. And it just seemed after that, it was every year, it just seemed like, oh, there's a lot more stuff you have to do now. We have to get to the airport how much time before our flight now? And that a lot, majority of that can be traced back to that single event.
Yeah, I'm just going to kind of piggyback off that. I also picked United 93. What I find interesting about that movie is it's kind of one of those, every once in a while you hear these, like, it's essentially kind of 2 different movies in one, because the first half is dealing a little bit more with the airline stuff, specifically with the military and with the companies that kind of own these airlines and everything. And it really shows the transition throughout that morning of, okay, this is kind of weird. This is bad, but okay, we'll figure this out, but we're going to kind of go on with our day. In fact, like the owner of the leader of the airlines or whatever, I'm blanking on the official terms or whatever of the actual companies and everything. He hears about the first crash, but he's like got to get to like a board meeting right after that. He's like, I'm just going to let you guys know, this is what we know so far. We're going to look into it, but we're going to kind of also continue with our day here today. And then all of a sudden the second attack happens, and then you start seeing the military, and you start seeing the confusion and all of it and everything too. And then the second half of that movie is focusing more on the actual passengers of United 93. So I think it is arguably one of the best scripted movies kind of dealing with that event, because it shows multiple perspectives, multiple angles, multiple stories going on throughout that day. And there was so many angles and so many things going on that you can't get it all in one movie, but this movie covers a lot of the main ones that you need to see and everything. So moving on then to documentary, trying to teach you some stuff here as well. Obviously there's probably thousands of documentaries. At the very least, there could be thousands made just on this one day. And
like made for TV specials that are documentary-esque, like the very large number. So
this one was a little bit harder to nail down here, I feel like. But what's your suggestion here?
I had 2 that really hit the top of my head, and I don't know if you were going to talk about either of them. One was Michael Moore's Fahrenheit 9/11. Because if you know Michael Moore's film, he is a very I don't want to say controversial, but thought-provoking filmmaker with the topics that he covers and how he chooses to cover them. So if you're a Michael Moore fan, and this kind of more goes towards like the Bush administration and how, I can't think of the name right now. The act that happened after this, Patriot Act.
There you go.
And kind of going
into
that.
Which is an actual acronym, by the way.
Is it?
Patriot Act. I can't remember the full thing, but it's like a full-on acronym.
That's funny.
Like, it's not just called that for patriotic. Whatever. I can look it up if you want me to. But
and then the second film was The Falling Man. There is tons and tons of media out there from the actual moment of collision the people falling from the towers, the first responders, all of it. And there's some very powerful photography and videos out there, and that kind of highlights some of that. I think that the image of the guy jumping from the tower, I believe is on Time magazine. Mm-hmm. Like it's a very, very famous photo, and this just kind of goes into all of that.
So yeah, the Patriot Act, it isn't just a name, it is an acronym.
Yeah.
The full acronym being providing appropriate tools required to intercept and obstruct terrorism. Obviously, you got to sneak in the 2 in the end there a little bit as well. But, yeah, actually spells out Patriot Act there. So
that's cool.
I found that to be kind of interesting as well. The documentary I'm going to talk about here, I believe is just simply called 9/11. Mm-hmm. And there are a few out there with that title. But I'm talking about the one that was made by the 2 French brothers. They were doing initially a documentary on a completely different subject. Mm-hmm. They were focusing on a young firefighter recruit and basically showing his rise, not necessarily through the ranks, but through training, gaining respect, and kind of showing the day in the life of like a beginning firefighter. Mm-hmm. So for a lot of you have probably seen clips from this documentary just because they were at the right place at the wrong time, or wrong place, whatever you want to call it, I guess, essentially, because one of the brothers just happened to get one of the only shots of the first plane hitting the first tower. And it was completely something separate. He was like just following these firefighters going B-roll while they were checking a gas leak. Yeah. And then just all of a sudden it happened right above him, and he just caught it at the last second. The other brother was at the fire station, and all of a sudden he followed these firefighters, and the brothers got separated. They didn't know where they were. So if you actually watch the documentary, however, it does spend a good like 15, 20 minutes kind of setting up what was essentially their initial idea. We're following this firefighter. We're seeing how it goes. And I'm kind of glad they made this. They could have just easily just started it where the first plate. They could have just cut all that other stuff out. But what I think is interesting is they included all this stuff in the beginning of what their original idea was, because that's kind of what the day was. Mm-hmm. It was just a normal day.
Normal Tuesday.
Yeah, normal Tuesday. They were just doing their stuff, and then all of a sudden, like that, the whole game changed.
Yep.
Similar to this documentary, it's very just kind of simple. It's kind of fun. You're seeing these firefighters bond and everything, and then just all of a sudden, the whole tone changes, and the whole point of the documentary changes. So I'm kind of, when I finally did, and I think it's just on YouTube now at this point. So
it probably is somewhere.
I think that's where actually I watched it. And so initially I was kind of like curious, like, why did they keep all that beginning stuff in there? And then I'm like, I think that might have been the point, was to show how quickly things changed that day. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, it shows you boots on the ground, a lot of the stuff happening there and everything, and you get to a lot of perspectives from firefighters. I mean, it's one thing, you see a lot of interviews from civilians, but to see these firefighters, these tough guys who've seen some of the worst, and even they're still like, this is tough. Yeah. Like, I don't even know if I want to talk about this. It really kind of shows the day and how bad it really got there. So, but with that, yeah, let's move on to the after the fact here, essentially talking about movies, scripted or documentary, that show some of the longer lasting effects, or even some of the near right after effects and everything. So what do you got for recommend for that?
One, I would like to recommend Zero Dark 30. It is a war movie, but it is based on the Iraq-Afghanistan war that we entered soon after 9/11. And the thing I found unique about this is they used a lot of actual Navy SEALs and actual like how they actually breach buildings and how they actually do things in the military, which we're starting to see more of now. But back in, I think it was like 2006, wasn't really that, maybe a little later, 2008 maybe, wasn't really that unique. Or it wasn't that common, I should say. So, and it actually might even been later.
2012.
2012? Yeah. Oof, yeah. 2012. Well, I suppose the war had to go on first. So, and I think also part of this, going back to never forgetting, I think a lot of people don't talk about it or remember it as well or as as big because it is tied to the war in Iraq and the war in Afghanistan. And depending on how you look at it, it was either a negative thing or a positive thing, and it's very conflicty. And I think that's part of the reason why people don't remember.
This isn't going to be my pick, but another movie I was debating on as far as the aftermath one is, it's one called The Report. It's got Adam Driver in it, and it is a very slow movie. It's not a lot going on, so if you do watch it, you're going to have to kind of keep your focus and attention on it. But it talks about what you're kind of talking about here, which is, okay, this happened shortly after, but we're seeing this movie like how many years kind of well after that, because it does kind of look at all the policies and stuff that, you know, the government enacted, and is like, well, okay, is this okay? Mm-hmm. Is this legal? Or is this just a bunch of like loopholes here or whatever? Yeah. And does start kind of asking those questions and everything as well. So I guess that's kind of a recommend for Aftermath here as well. But mine that I'm going to go with is a movie called My Name is Khan. This one came out in 2010. A little bit of a lesser known movie, but basically this is a fictional story, but you could probably guess parts of it did happen. And the main thing is it dealt with a lot of the Islamophobia that happened after 9/11. Basically, this guy, he lives over in San Diego. He has a wife, a kid, and then 9/11 happens, and then his kid gets bullied relentlessly because, you know, he's Islamic, and the husband gets bullied or, you know, gets essentially basically everyone throughout the country. All of a sudden, it was kind of this whole you got to choose your side kind of thing going on. And so he does this thing where he decides he's going to travel across country to try and talk to the president and try and get him to convince people that not all Muslims are bad. It's worth mentioning the character in this has Asperger's. So this was not he was just kind of genuinely like trying to help. Mm-hmm. But in a way, he at first tries to travel by plane because, again, he's in San Diego, and even though he's got no criminal record, nothing's wrong with this guy, whatever, he gets searched and brought aside and all this other stuff, and people look down on him. But so then he decides to just cross country kind of road trip way, and he's just kind of helping people out as best he can throughout the country here. So I think it just kind of, again, as much as that is kind of a fictional story, it does show where people's mindset was right after. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of questions going on and everything, and there was a lot of who do you trust? Very similar to the Red Scare, if you think of in like the Cold War. All of a sudden it was like, who do we trust? Yep. And how quickly were you willing to, turn on your neighbor? Turn on your neighbor, exactly. So I don't know. I think it's interesting. No matter how far into history we go, we're always kind of doing the same thing. It seems like we can say we're more advanced than we were in the 1950s, but are we though? Are we though? At the end of the day, I don't know. But anyways, that's just, that was a little bit of a tougher one to get through here for obvious reasons, but we felt like we needed to do this one here this week. So let us know if there's any movies dealing with 9/11 that help you never forget, or ones that you want to suggest. Let us know down in the comments below. Hey, we talk a lot about movies on this channel, but sometimes the ones we talk about aren't the most accessible. That's where the Marshall-Lyon County Library comes in handy. They have a great collection of physical media, as well as a couple of online services with many, many options for movies, TV shows, and documentaries. It's easy. Just get your own library card at the Marshall-Lyon County Library and gain access to their large variety of movies, TV shows, and of course, books. Also, be sure to check back every month as we here at Popcorn Bucket List make specific movie recommendations based on a monthly theme. So head on over to the Marshall-Lyon County Library for some of our favorites and check out the channel to get even more movie recommendations. And now, on with the show! But with that, let's move on to the weekly preview here, talking about all the movies coming out this weekend. Got a kind of a smorgasbord here.
Yeah,
a little bit of everything.
Some would say it's a good spread.
It is a little bit. Let's kick things off with one of the bigger ticket items here, Downton Abbey, the grand finale. That's right. Get your tea and crumpets ready here.
Crumpets?
I don't know if I've ever actually had crumpets before. Are they
kind of like spotted dick?
Okay, but I haven't. Okay.
You ever had that?
No.
It's not. It's okay.
Okay.
It's
it like a cracker sponge. Or is it like a biscuit?
A crumpet?
Yeah.
It's like a biscuit, I would say.
Because I'm like picturing like dinner
It's like a
rolls
cracker
or
biscuit.
like
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So yeah, get whatever it is you want to snack on for this movie ready, I
Little
suppose, in
spot
general.
of tea.
Yeah, this is the third and probably final movie, as the title suggests, in the Downton franchise. Like I said, 3 movies right after 6 seasons of television.
Yep.
Here, the Downton Abbey is about to be passed on to the younger generation, but that comes with some controversy here, potentially. Look, I'm not going to pretend I know at all what's going on here. I have not seen any of the 6 seasons or the first 2 movies, so I'm not going to sit here and try and say that I know what's happening. I'm not even going to sit here and say I know how Abbeys over in England work right now.
Abbey?
I don't.
I think she's just like a normal person.
No, I think the Abbey is the building.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Abbeys, they're a big thing over there. There's these big houses. Honestly, it looks like a nice house.
It would be a nice house.
It'd be a nice place to live in. For sure.
Mm.
Do you think is it the same? Do you think that's like the same house they've been filming for all those seasons of television in this movie? Because it looks like the same house.
I bet. I'm sure it's sets on a stage. I don't know if
like
it's
the interior stuff probably is different each time. But yeah, for any of you who are big Downton Abbey fans, and I know there's a big fan base for this movie.
Big fan base
for this series and these movies. So I expect this one to be a pretty big hit here as well. I wish I had more to say about it. I don't. I got nothing for you here.
Not for me.
Also coming out this weekend, The Long Walk, coming straight to theaters, rated R, based on one of the earliest Stephen King novels, turns out. This movie shows a not-too-distant future where about 100 boys are selected to be in this, essentially a contest where you walk or die.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Only one winner, and the prize is, I guess, whatever you want for the rest of your life, I guess.
Something like that, yeah.
I don't know if the movie was saying you get that one thing just for the rest of your life, or you just kind of get whatever you want forever and ever. It's basically unlimited wishes with a genie.
Yeah.
I don't know. Point is, you're still alive.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
I'm
thing.
curious as to like sleeping. Do they get to sleep at night, or do you keep walking throughout the night? Because if you have to do that, it's only going to be a matter of a few days.
Yeah, I don't
like
think
2
they
days.
let him sleep.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's some moments where it's like a sunset shot, and they're still walking and everything.
And I also, I didn't know that only one person could make it.
Yeah.
So if this was me, as soon as we start, I'm sabotaging everybody else so I win, and I don't have to walk 1,000,000 miles.
I'd be willing to bet, because I don't think the trailers really showed that, but that has got to be a strategy in it. And you see throughout the trailer, there's these 2 guys in particular who seem to have come up with some sort of bond.
Yeah.
You just know they're going to be the last 2, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, do you sabotage your buddy here? Or do you, just see who wins straight up or whatever? I don't know, but it's going to be an interesting one for sure. Honest question, though. How many steps do you think these actors got in while working on the movie?
Couldn't even imagine.
Because they're actually walking during this.
Yeah. I hope they were playing Pokemon Go and incubating eggs while they were.
Could you imagine the steps they got in doing that? Oh,
crazy.
Man, their Fitbit counters must be off the roof.
Yeah.
But I would feel bad if it's like the end of a shooting day. You've been walking all this time, and all of a sudden you screw up a line. And the director's like, back to 1. And everyone's like, God dang it, Jim.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
You just got to walk. But I don't know. Could be. Yeah, it should be a good movie here. You mentioned the whole only one survivor kind of thing. This kind of reminds us of another sort of childlike competition movie, The Hunger Games.
Hunger Games.
And it's worth mentioning the guy who directed that movie also is directing this one. So he kind of knows how to do the whole last man standing.
Teen apocalypse.
Yeah.
End of the world. Fight the power movies. I don't know if that's how you describe Hunger Games, but
No, I think that works.
that works.
I think that's
Dystopian future.
Yeah, I think that's good. My last question for you is: if you end up winning this competition, what would be the one thing you'd wish for?
One thing I would wish for?
Yeah, you get your wish for the rest of your life or whatever.
I would wish to relive the 2025 Vikings and Bears Monday night football game.
Okay, so a little bit of so you just force the players to go out there and just keep
redoing that over and over and over.
Good one. I would wish for the competition to never happen again, so I'd save countless lives throughout my lifetime. But that's just the selfless thinking that I'm going for and whatever. But you relive your glory, I'll relive mine, I guess. So whatever. But also coming out this weekend here, Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues. Over 40 years ago, the first Spinal Tap movie was released and redefined mockumentaries for decades to come. Now we're revisiting the same band as they attempt a little bit of a comeback here.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of the original Spinal Tap movie. I think it's pretty funny. It's not like hugely laugh out loud funny. It's just a lot of like enjoyable, relatable moments.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this one looks even funnier, actually.
I do too. I think it's going to be good. I think they've had time to grow and learn in their humor, and I think it'll be really funny.
You know, we talked about this a couple weeks ago as well with the first Spinal Tap. It has its humor, it has its charm, but it also has a really great soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of curious if we're going to see the same thing with this one here. Any new songs?
I
Or is
hope
it going to
so.
be one of those comeback tours where they're just going to play the hits?
They're going to play the hits, baby.
Yeah, we're going to bring
We'll
out
see.
Stonehenge,
We'll see.
all that. So, yeah, everyone looks a little bit older, maybe a little bit wiser, but I don't know. I got high hopes of this being funnier even, so.
Yep.
But last but certainly not least, I know you've been chomping at the bit here, and I put it at the end just to torture you a little bit, so I'll stop torturing you here. Also coming out to theaters, Demon Slayer, something Infinity Castle. I don't know how to say
Infinity
it.
Castle arc.
Is it just Infinity Castle? Okay.
Yeah, it's like Demon Slayer, Kimutsubuji no Subuji, the movie, Infinity Castle arc,
Okay.
part
okay.
1.
So as little context as I knew about Downton Abbey, I actually know less about this, I feel like, so I'm just going to let you take it here.
I'm
So-
going to send you
I'm just gonna
like
take a
a
nap.
3-hour-long YouTube video to watch before Thursday or before Friday. Our boy Tanjiro, his sister gets turned into a demon, and he becomes a demon slayer. So he has to kill all the demons. And they've had a couple of beautiful shot seasons, beautiful movie. Now they're on their final arc, the end of the story, and they're splitting this up into 3 movies. So this will be the first part 1. It's been crushing it all over the world, absolutely breaking records, breaking bank, ratings, everything just off the charts. And I think it just actually beat every Studio Ghibli film ever made. So just this one movie has beat all of them. So it's not together, but it's made more money than those. And it's not even out in half the world yet. So I think this is going to be absolutely monumental. There are cool popcorn buckets. So if you can get your hands on those, get them. Yeah, it's going to be, it's kind of like, for me, this is like how I felt when Oppenheimer came out. That's the level of excitement and amped that I have.
Oh, are you done?
Yep, we're done.
Okay, I'll finish playing Angry Birds later. Yeah, I mean, animation looked pretty good.
And this animation is top notch. It is visually breathtaking.
So I guess to kind of end this one here, I suppose someone like me or other people out there who have absolutely no idea what's going on here, what would be the way to convince them, do you think, to check out this movie?
That's a good question, because I'm wondering, you don't really need, like, I think you could watch this movie and enjoy it visually and like storyly without knowing the huge backstory that it all has. However, I think you will get way more out of the movie if you know the backstory and everything else that led up to this. Where I think, like, you can watch this just as the event that it is, but knowing everything that happened before is going to make it.
Is it going to be easy enough for me to know who's the good guys and the bad guys?
Yes.
Okay, that's
I'll
all
find you like an hour-long video to
That's
watch
okay.
that.
You don't
It'll
need to.
Yeah,
You don't need
I'll
to
do
do
that
that.
for you.
No,
Don't
that's
worry.
fine. That's
Don't worry
fine.
about it. I got it.
I am a little worried about it.
It's
now,
fine.
So it's okay. I'm
No
just gonna
worries.
have to-
I got you.
Well, now I'm gonna have to block you on everything. So, which I'm kind of surprised I haven't done that already. But yeah, that'll be an interesting one here. Like you've been actually alluding to this for a few weeks now. It has been very big box office wise. So I am curious to see when it hits some of these American markets what it does this weekend here. So,
Crush.
you want to place a bet? Which one does better, Downton Abbey or Demon Slayer?
I bet Demon Slayer does better.
I know. Obviously, you're picking that, but I'm saying,
Let's make a bet.
All right. You still owe me for Lilo and Stitch Dragon, so you want to go double or nothing on that?
Double or nothing.
All right.
What are we betting? Do you remember?
It was
two
like,
lunches.
It was just like lunch or whatever.
Okay, 2 lunches. So
Yeah.
Mitch owes me a lunch. owes me a big lunch after that bomb they dropped last night.
That was not we barely squeaked that by.
Crushed them.
Okay, in like one of the 3 quarters.
Yes.
All right, let's wrap up this episode like we usually do with some number 1 recommends. I got myself listed here first, but in case you want to talk about this one as well, I won't talk too much about it. Did have a chance to check out Conjuring Last Rites last weekend. I sort of binged a lot of the Conjuring movies before this. Mm-hmm. There's a clear disparity in the Conjuring verse as far as the ones I like and don't like. The ones with the Warrens, I like more, with the exception of Annabelle Creation. That was like the one I kind of put in there as well.
Yeah.
But it's because I like the Warrens. What I like about this demon possession movie that I don't like about all the others is, for some reason, the demon has to slowly build up his attacks, and it's this long haul, and it takes forever for any actual action to happen in any of these movies. I'm looking at you, Paranormal Activity. But if you have these other family members and this other group come in that you actually care about, that they actually have these character moments with, it fills the gaps. It fills the time and actually makes you care for these people. That is what the Conjuring movies have done so well that I think so many other possession movies have failed on. So is this my favorite Conjuring movie? No. Is it my least favorite, though? No. I would say the first 2 set such a high bar that this one is pretty good overall.
Yep.
But that's my recommend. How about you? What do you recommend in this weekend?
Yeah, I'm going to do a soft recommend on The Conjuring as well because it, like you said, it was enjoyable. I liked it. I thought it was a good end piece. But I'm also going to recommend go watch some Demon Slayer and then go watch the movie. There's if you really want the down and that's what we'll do. We'll watch Mugen Train. That's the movie that came out that preceded the previous season. See, and also it's kind of hard because sometimes like the Mugen Train arc was like 7 or 8 episodes, but they also released a movie, and the movie covers those 7 or 8 episodes, but in a much more condensed version. So it's kind of like, here, you can watch the season or you can watch the movie. But a true fan's going to watch both of them because there's little things that are in. So it's kind of, yeah, it gives you the gist of it.
All right. So, we're both recommending demon movies here this weekend.
I guess we went with Demon or Downton.
Yeah. But that's going to do it for us here on this episode of Popcorn Bucket List. A couple weeks ago, our friends over at Minnesota Sports Live had their 250th episode, and they had a panel of quote-unquote experts preview the upcoming NFL season. The reason why I put experts in air quotes is because our fellow guy, Mitch Reby here, fellow producer of Omni, who I trust with most things, but
he was an expert on there?
He was like the only Bears fan they could find. So, yeah. Yeah, they had a Bears fan, they had a Packers fan, they had a Lions fan, and they were also talking about Minnesota Vikings, just kind of giving an NFC North preview in general. Let's be honest. If there's one thing NFC North fans can agree on, we don't agree on a lot. If there's one thing we can agree on, we have the most competitive division in football.
100%.
And so this is going to be a good year, and they talk about that a little bit here. So make sure you give them a little bit of a view here. Again, that was their 250th episode, so check out that episode. Give them a follow. Link to their YouTube channel is in the description down below, and be sure to thank them for all that they do because they helped us out with a little bit of a special project that hopefully will be out here in a couple weeks. Don't want to spoil it too much here, but it was a lot of fun, and I cannot wait for everyone to see it. Yeah. I wish I could show it to you now, but there's a lot of work still to be done with it.
Gonna be sweet.
So for myself, Ryan, and Carter, we'd like to thank you so much for watching, and we will see you at the movies.